Hello everyone, hi, it's Terry checking in with ya. How's your heart today? How's that wonderful, beautiful, dynamic heart of yours? I hope it's well. I hope you're doing okay. I know it's been a minute since my last video and there's so much going on, and I know that I'm not the only one feeling it, whatever it is, right? I think the best way to describe the it feeling is like growing pains, right? Each of us is going through our own individual awakening, consciousness expansion, where we're learning through experience, and not all the experience is good. Not all the experience feels good. And it's like we're being tossed around in a dryer cycle, right? First we're getting washed, then we're getting tossed and dried, right? So I'm pretty sure you're feeling it. The reason why I know you're feeling it is because we are all one, and I am you and you are me. And what I wanted to talk a bit about today was anger and resentment, and why it's important to let it go. And I don't want to just lightly say, oh, just let it go, you know, like, oh, poof, be gone, because that's not how it works, right? It's not how it works. We have deep-seated thoughts that we incur or develop or grow throughout our lifetime. A lot of it has to do with the way we were raised, society's conditioning, and our own self-worth, right? So we have these thoughts that we keep thinking over and over and over again. And they become sort of like the filter or the lens in our auric field through which our soul kind of views things, yes? So we have these thought forms, and when we think of them over and over and over again, what we're doing is we're feeding them our energy, so they become stronger and stronger and stronger, almost to a point where they're kind of like entities, okay? Now, I'm not here to scare you and just say we're a bunch of humans running around with like these ugly entities in our auric field, but, you know, I'm a Leo, so I'm gonna make it a little dramatic, right? As I drink my coffee with Cheshire Cat. These thoughts that we continuously feed grow and grow more in their power, and therefore give us the lens or the perspective, or if you even want to say the glasses through which we see our life, right? And that's just the way it works. That's what energy is. They're thought forms, and they become belief systems. And once we believe something, we can create it, positive or negative. So when those thoughts are challenged, when those belief systems are challenged, it can easily bring up an emotion or feeling of anger or resentment. And our own, from the human perspective side of us, our inner little kiddos, our inner little children who have and harbor and hold these thought forms get activated. And so we're basically a bunch of adult humans running around in an adult earth suit, but the drivers of the earth suit are our little inner children. Okay, so you can just imagine the potential, the possibility of that hot mess, right? So if our adult earth suit is not in energetic alignment meaning we're not feeling okay with ourselves, meaning we don't have control over our thoughts or behaviors or even movements of our body. The inner little kiddos are the drivers. Yes. So with anger and resentment, they get triggered because our inner little kiddos can't have their way, or are then sort of pushed into that memory or that thought or that experience of those thought forms of I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, whatever it is, yes? So we're gonna make decisions from the inner little kiddo drivers of our little earth suits instead of from the big adult earth suits, right? With anger and resentment, it's a very personal thing, right? We take it very personally. It's an assault to our intelligence. It's an assault to our being. And it's such a visceral, meaning in the body, reaction when we have that anger. Our blood pressure goes up, our cheeks get red, we shake, I shake. I don't know if you're a shaker, I'm a shaker. And then all of a sudden, all these thoughts start coming through and start like then proceeding to drive, right? So the little, for example, like if I'm triggered or I get upset about something, little Terrie is now the driver, right? And so with anger and resentment, by the way, it is a very, very blocking energy towards prosperity, towards love, towards anything and everything. And most of the time, what you'll find if you do a little digging, which a lot of us don't like to do, but that's why it's called work. We got to go kind of shovel in some of that schmutz within ourselves, go to that dark side of ourself that we do not like want to admit because it's the ugly part of ourselves. When we go to that spot, that area, what we realize is we're not necessarily angry at people. We're not holding resentment towards people. We're actually angry or holding resentment towards ourself, right? And it's usually because we made a choice or a decision to do X, Y, Z, right? And in our own choice and in our own decision, we actually, when it comes down to it, we have to take the responsibility and the accountability that we were the ones that chose that situation, that scenario, that experience, whatever it was. And when we made that decision or choice, it's because we were wearing that particular lens or those glasses, and the outcome or the end result was something that did not please us. It didn't work out the way we wanted. And so because, or if, not necessarily because, if we're not spiritually mature enough, and most of us are spiritual kindergartners, let's face it. And there's no shame in the game. That's the idea of becoming human, is to evolve and grow in your consciousness, in your spirituality. But if we, myself included, I am not exempt, by the way. Just because I'm sharing this with you doesn't mean I'm exempt from it. But when we are making those choices and decisions and we're not getting what we want or the desired outcome or result or the expectational outcome or result, we will, if we're not spiritually aware or we are just not having any type of awareness of who we are in this world not compared, but in relation to other people, places, things, circumstances, or thoughts, or whatever, we're actually going to put a blame outside of ourselves on that person, on that thing, on that circumstance. When really what happened was we made a choice and a decision to do something that led us somewhere with some sort of result that we are not happy with. That's anger and resentment, generally speaking. Now, I'm not here saying people are not assholes. I'm not here saying people are not jerks. I'm not here saying circumstances that don't turn out the way that they did suck, blah, 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 right? What I am here to say is that we do have to take some sort of responsibility and accountability in our actions, because those actions produce or continue a certain storyline that we're currently in, or you want to call it life path. Let's call it life path, that life path that you're on, right? But we're the ones making the choices and the decisions that are presented to us. And when they're presented to us, you know, the presenters, let's just say if it's a person, if they're not in their integrity, or they just don't have the right sense of, you know, karma, let's just say, they can definitely mislead us without a doubt, right? And they can feed us the words and the feelings that we would ideally like to feel, and they're igniting in us in that now moment. So we make the choice or the decision to follow through with that direction. And then now that takes us on that life path. So now we're in that timeline. But really what it comes down to is with anger and resentment, it's always about us being angry at ourselves. Again, I'm not saying other people are innocent, right? They're not innocent in the collaboration. So what I want to pose to you today, or what I want to put out there for you today, just to think about, is if you're in a situation where you're angry, or you're resentful, or you're upset, how or can you see your role in that, right? Can you see how the situation came about, and how maybe it could have gone different? Okay, fine, it doesn't matter because that's the past. Yes, it could have gone different. We want to not stay on that. We want to let that go. But what did you do? What is the awareness that you can have of the choice that you made? And how can you improve for the next time? So we're not going to worry about what happened, because then what's going to happen is we're going to bring in the frequencies and the energies of shame and guilt, which we don't need, which doesn't make anything any better, right? But what we can do is we can turn on our awareness, our mindfulness, and just say, okay, here's the situation that happened, and this was my choice. So I can see why the course led out, or the story played out the way it did. And how can I next time be maybe more observational or participational in a different direction? So let me give you an example. And I am currently working out the anger and resentment on this. I had to do an energetic purge, which if you work with me is something that I can teach you. We don't have time to do this right now, but I had to do a purge to get this energy out of my system, and then an imprint to put in good, yummy feelings. Because once you have a space, something else is going to fill it up if you don't fill it up with something yummy and good, right? So I was recently a part of a panel, and I was asked to be on this panel, even though I didn't have all of the criteria to meet the needs, I guess you can say, of an aspect of it. And I said to this person, I said, are you sure you want me to do this? I I don't know that I can do this because I don't meet this criteria. And they accepted me anyways. And they said, yes, 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 absolutely. And I was like, okay. I followed all the directions of what I was supposed to do. Throughout the process, I started noticing things in terms of their organizational processes. And I was like, I don't like the way this is being run. It's being run very unprofessional. Now, I might be a psychic, I might be a medium, I might be an energy healer, but I'm an entrepreneur, I'm also a businesswoman, and I'm organized AF, okay? So things like the schedule of timing of when I was supposed to speak changed, and I was not notified about that. There were affiliate links and such, and I was given the same link as someone else. And then lastly, you know, I like to give out free promotional materials to you guys to see how maybe if we were to work together, you would feel. So I gave a link so people can download some meditations. And those are just 3 instances in which I had to go back and just say to this person, there's discrepancies here. People, this is wrong information. This is a person who did not like to be told what to do. Fine, their problem. And I wanted to get clarity to make sure that my end of the role was being played out, right? When you have anxiety, you have to get information, right? And I was getting information because it was unclear what was happening. The organization was horrible. So when it came down to it, the link for all the free stuff for you guys to download was incorrect. And I was really upset. At this point, all of these things were leading up to this, and my instinct, my gut was bail out of this conference. Bail out, bail out. And I was like, no, I want to help people. I want to help people. But it was like, bail out because this is not good. This is not good at all. Their organization is crap. This is not good. So what did I do? I did not listen to myself. Yes, even as a psychic, getting information, I was saying no. Because I'm human, just like you, right? How many times have you done something like this? To make a long story longer, I ended up in an email exchange, verbal not niceness. I don't know how else to say it. And I was starting to be called names by this person. And I was like, no, this is not okay. So I didn't sleep well because I was full of anger and resentment. And then this morning I realized, well, what was happening? Well, I was mad at myself, me. This person has their own karma, their own accountability, their own responsibility. They're not willing to take, that's fine. I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. But for me in my own lane, right, it's really important for me to understand that I'm mad at myself more than I am mad at that person, because that person's only capable of doing whatever they're capable of doing. But I am mad at myself for all those red flags, ignoring the red flags, not listening to my inner gut instincts, right? And then having to be called names, clearly reflecting unprofessionalism. So that's why it's really important. I just wanted to share with you my process of how this all goes about with anger and resentment. And we cannot hold this anger and resentment. We have to let it go. We have to let matters pass. Karma will take care of itself. That's not my problem. The truth always comes out. That's not my problem. But I need to be responsible and accountable for my part in all of this and in how I caused my own anger and resentment, even though it seems like it was from an outside source. You understand that? So try somehow and look and see, reflect. It's really more about a reflection. If you're in a situation where you're angry at someone or something, a circumstance, and you're holding resentment, and you could be holding this for years, by the way, you know, are you really mad at the other person, or are you mad at yourself for staying in that relationship too long, or not following your gut instinct in a business decision, or whatever it is, right? Become more mindful of yourself, more mindful of your activities. Take care of yourself, stay in your own lane, right? And let other people deal with their other stuff, right? Because your energy is precious. Your energy is precious. My energy is precious. I literally wasted an entire evening tossing and turning, which I could have been, you know, gathering and collecting and replenishing in my body healing, but instead I was angry and resentful and tossed and turned at how she was calling me names and how she was unorganized and unprofessional and blah, 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 blah. Where really all that happened was I'm mad at myself that I ignored all of those red flags. I ignored all of those inner prompts of get out of this, right? And I was putting other people ahead of myself, okay? Please, please, please know that if you do that, it's okay. Nothing's wrong. You can always clean up a mess like I'm doing right now. I'm cleaning up a mess. I'm cleaning up a mess with myself, right? Holding on to anger and resentment is going to block you from love. It's going to block you from prosperity. It's going to block you from joy. It's going to block you from play. It's going to block you from creativity. It's going to block you from you. So just take a look in your life, see where you might be holding anger and resentment, and see if you can forgive yourself, because that's how you alleviate anger and resentment, is self-forgiveness. And I know it's hard to do. I know it's hard to do, all right? But it's how you stay connected to yourself. And I'm always talking about connection, right? So stay connected to yourself, stay connected to your friends and family. And when you are connected to yourself, you're connected to the divine. And then you do get clear messages like, do not continue with that business decision, bail out, right? But then it becomes a choice and a decision for you to move forward or not, right? So you're the only person. That's the lowest common denominator in all of the anger and resentment. So good luck with that. It's not an easy thing to do, but you will really, really notice huge life changes. All right. So stay connected to yourself, stay connected to your friends and family. Of course, stay connected to me, and I'll see ya on the flip side.